Hi everybody, today's video is something a little bit different today. Instead of the regular art discussion, we're going to talk about writing and storytelling. As you probably can tell, I like to work on comics, things like plot, characters, and just the mechanics of writing fascinate me so much. Writing is one of those things that often you don't really know where to begin. Well, I want to entertain you this idea. I've had this idea from months back when I heard it in the opening line from this documentary series from the author of the manga 20th Century Boys, Urasaka Naoki-san. He had this new part.
面白いとは何かっていうのを自分で体得していく以外ないもんね。何を吸収して何を見て感動してとか、何を見て怒ったとか、どうなって嬉しかったとか、そういうようなことが全部総動員になって面白いってものが出来上がるじゃない。
This idea in the back of my mind led me to make this video, to try and understand what may get you to write or get immersed in the types of stories you like based on their entertainment value. So what really entertains you? That's the point I'm really trying to get across here today. The purpose of this video is not to say the groundwork for writing, for example, settings, characters and plot aren't of fundamental importance. Entertainment is a broad and largely subjective to your taste. But if I wanted to break it down in general, I would say entertainment can encompass an emotional reaction, a felt experience, relatable, enticing, or dramatic element, etc. I think for me personally, the story elements, world building, or just sitting down to write can be somewhat dry and inert, like being in a car without an engine. Often, when I hear a joke or have a bad day, I will manifest that into something like an illustration or comic that people can enjoy, get a few likes on social media. For me, what makes it exciting is the transformation of a relatable feeling or experience seen in a new light. Now here's another thing. Entertainment is a term we might use to describe mass media. I went to see Solo, a Star Wars story recently. I thought it was fun. By circumstances, I know there's a lot of mixed reviews of it. Maybe at the time I felt too entertained to notice few or many inconsistencies. That's entirely possible. I would say an interesting example to look at would be Deadpool 1 and 2. Most of us are aware of the comic book anti-hero being adapted to the big screen. Now, would you honestly look at me and tell me the stories in both films were great? I mean, they're alright. The story is obviously there so a movie can exist. We can be assured the film is a humorous deconstruction of the superhero genre, and we will still walk away enjoying ourselves. Now, this may be because most comedy films aren't really about the plot, instead follow on the familiar trope of rule of funny. Deadpool is rightly billed as an action comedy. Not to say this is the rule for most comedy films, but the jokes and long-running gags about Green Lantern and Wolverine can really stick out in people's minds, beyond the mechanics of writing, but also because of that. People also remember their favorite lines from Avengers Infinity War.
Did you shoot my guy and I'll blast him? Let's go! Do it, Quill!
What?
I can take it.
No, he can't.
Right. What master do you serve? What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus? You're from Earth. You're from Earth. I'm from Missouri. Yeah, that's on Earth, dipshit.
That's a really funny line in an otherwise dark and serious film. This is coupled with the fact that this has been a large series of interconnected films exploring the cinematic universe, encompassing an overarching storyline. And because of this backlog, we know who all the characters are up to this point. It's honestly quite phenomenal it can be pulled off. I don't want to go too much into analysis of film for this video, so let's continue. Entertainment is not always about things that excite, thrill, or make us laugh. People, more often than you think, will seek out conflict. Psychologically, maybe in the hopes of finding a satisfying solution in some form. Just like how war reporters will seek to report on armed conflict in the Middle East, or a person trying to understand their tortured past through therapy. So you know things like comedy or tragedy can be great benchmarks, but sometimes good writing feels like learning how to trick the audience sometimes. On the contrary, writers can understand these mechanisms in human behavior, because they're so deeply rooted psychologically, which affects our behavior and in turn create conflict, depending on our frame of reference. In a way, this is kind of like the write what you know method you hear about often, except you're more open about the things that interest you. Let's say, for example, do you like strange and unusual creatures? Characters reacting overly emotional to their plans backfiring? Strobe light fights? Cyborgs? Your cat running away when it sees a human? Food? Stuff taken out of context? Fan service? I know I do. It's great to be specific sometimes and to make lists. Now, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Holly Brown in this video. She's a comic artist and animator on YouTube. I'm not going to spend time criticizing her work or anything. You see, when I often watch her content or read her webcomics online, it's hard not to take notice of where her key interests lie. From what I can gather, she seems keen exploring the craft of animation, storyboarding, anime, and storylines about being in gay relationships. And through her frankness to talk about it, I gained an interest in her channel and content. It's funny in the way she talks about her characters that makes me think of this news report blooper that's talking about a Mount Everest climber.
Right after the break, we're going to interview Eric Weihenmayer, who climbed the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. But he's he's blind.
Back to the point, if I were to put these theories into action, I would say make a list of things like I said before, and maybe keep a journal to take notes about things in your life, etc., along with the constant practice of writing with intent every day. I try to set the proper terminology early on in this video because writing and entertainment are both distinct but integral processes, the former being mostly about editing, correction, and most importantly, it's to do with forming habits and revision. In conclusion, while the basics of writing fundamentals always remain grounded in structural forms like establishing theme, plot, and characters, etc., these structures should help things make sense. We must remember the good old saying, good writing is good rewriting. But in the realm of entertainment, it's your ballgame. It's kind of obvious when it's stated. It's just when we are in this process of writing an interesting story, we need to silence our inner critics and just create more honest work that, made to the best of our abilities, and of course with practice, reflect our tastes. I hope you found this video enjoyable and helpful if all. If you have any questions about this video, please leave a comment below. And once again, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!